Three things, and then I'm going to get on here really quick and then get off, and you guys want to hear Laura, so we'll get to her. Three things: politics, thinking bigger, and empowerment. And we'll get through those. Before we get to that though, do you know a nurse works about 2,000 hours in a year? That's 1/4 of the year at work. That's 1/4 of the best years of your life. When your mind is good and your body is strong, 1/4 of that time is spent at work. Let's talk about politics. That's a dirty word, right? But we have to talk about politics. So there are a lot of issues that are very divisive. Guns, some people are pro-Second Amendment, some people, think that we need more control or more regulation. It's abortions, some people are pro-life, some people are pro-choice. It's war. War is always a divisive issue. It's policing. That's always, people are always talking about that as of late. They're talking about, should you just support the police on doing a good job, or maybe they're a little bit heavy-handed. So these are issues that everyone is talking about all the time. And as a nation, and as individuals, we're really passionate about these issues. And after all, they reflect our core values and how we see right and wrong, and how we wish to see the world. So I'm not here to tell you how to vote, or what to believe, or how to decide any of the things around those issues. But I do want you to think about something. In your everyday life, how much time do we spend on those issues? Do we spend 2,000 hours shooting guns? Do we spend 2,000 hours dealing in abortions? Do we spend 2,000 hours at war? Do we spend 2,000 hours dealing with police officers? Well, hopefully not. The truth is, as nurses, we actually don't spend a lot of time dealing with those things. But we choose our elected officials based on their stance and how they view those issues. Now, don't get me wrong, we should definitely hold them accountable on those issues, and we should continue to be engaged in the political process around those issues. However, as nurses, the issues that affect 1/4 of the best years of our life, 2,000 hours a year, aren't even being discussed by our elected officials. In our work environments, they affect us personally. They affect our families and our communities and the entire country. But these issues that affect every nurse are not even being discussed at the political level. So I think that nurses need to become a voting bloc that represents healthcare. And our elected officials need to know that they need to talk to the nurses about what affects the nurses and and how that affects healthcare if they want to get elected. Let's talk a little bit about thinking bigger. As nurses, we are trained to take care of individuals and communities. So when I was working in the ICU, and I had 3 patients and they were all pretty sick, and they wheeled up a 4th one because I just had to, and there's nothing I could do about that. I didn't think about policy. I didn't actually care. I just wanted someone to fix that situation. When I was working in long-term care, and I was an LPN, I was working a night shift, and there were 30 patients assigned to me. And it was just me and a CNA, trying to figure that out. I didn't even care about policy. I wanted someone to just, help me. I wanted someone to fix my immediate situation. I wasn't really thinking beyond that. But my thinking was really flawed. And honestly, I hadn't been trained to think any bigger than that. I had been trained to take care of people, and I was trying to do that to the best of my ability. But I needed to think bigger and beyond that situation and imagine the possibilities of a safer kind of system. My point is this: long-term care nurses and ICU nurses and nurse practitioners, all of these people are nurses, and they really don't have to work in silos to fix their own problems. They need to work together, all united. So we have to lift our heads up and see our place in the bigger picture. When all nurses, in all settings, support the issues that most nurses are facing, we will shift the power from hospitals and corporations back into the hands of the nurses. And once we shift that power back into the hands of the nurses, we can address the specific problems in each specialty. When we do this, we will control all aspects of the entire healthcare system, as we should. I think the system would be better off in the hands of the nurses. As opposed to business moguls and corporations and hospital lobbyists. Yeah. Let's talk about empowerment, and I'm going to finish up. So the grassroots movement is kind of like, I live in Massachusetts, so we have a lot of snow, so it's a snowball analogy. So it's kind of like when you're building a snowball and you kind of roll it down a hill and it gets bigger and bigger. As it goes down, it collects more snow and it gets heavier and denser and it moves faster. That's what the grassroots movement is like. They start small and they pick up more speed and they get more powerful as they move. So what we need to do is we need to go home and grab one nurse and pull that person into this movement. We need to empower them to make change, and then that person needs to grab another nurse and pull them into this movement. And then when this movement reaches a critical mass, there's no way that they're going to be able to ignore 3 million nurses. There was a time when I was younger in my career and I was working on my unit, and I really believed that there was nothing I could do about the way that my hospital chose to staff the facility. But I know that my thinking was flawed, and I just had my head down and I was trying to get my work done. But I can say, after talking to nurses all around the country, pretty much all the time, unequivocally, that I believe we as nurses, we hold the power to make all the change and any change that we want.
Woo!
Yes.
So we have to do a few things. We have to become a political voting bloc.
Yes.
Yep.
We have to think bigger and beyond our unit and our clinical situations.
Yep.
Yes.
And we have to empower each other and the next generation of nurses.
Absolutely.
If we do this, we'll take healthcare back from the people who don't deserve to control it.
Yes.
And if you put the nurses in charge of healthcare, they will prioritize people over profits.
Yes.
They will put the care back in healthcare where it belongs. And I have just one last thing to say. So I know this rally, we're talking about the federal level legislation, and we would like mandated ratios all across the country. And we know that would be better for the entire country. But this is also a rallying point for all of us to go back home and to get involved on the grassroots level. And it doesn't really matter, in my opinion, how you get involved, but just get involved.
Yes.
And bring a friend with you.
Yes.
And that involvement can be online, it can be calling your representatives, showing up at town halls, joining local nursing advocacy groups, unions. It doesn't matter. Just get involved and bring your friends.
Yes.
That's what I plan to do when I go home. And I thank you all for showing up. And Nurses Unite.
Thank you, Jalil. Let's do a quick throwback to anyone that was here at the 1995 March.
Me. All right. To us.
Laura Gasparis Bonfolio, RN, PhD, has been a nurse for over 45